First contact hubris. Grand Admiral Krelvaz stood on the command deck of the Indomitable Might, flagship of the Valkyrian Empire's third expansion fleet. His sleek exoskeleton gleamed under the ambient lighting as he studied the holographic display of the unassuming blue-green planet rotating slowly before him. Such a primitive world, he chittered to his executive officer. These humans have barely reached their own moon. Their technology is crude, their understanding of the universe limited. First Officer Thrix inclined her head in deference. The Intelligence Division reports they've only achieved fusion power in the last decade, Admiral. Their weapons are kinetic or chemical-based. No gravitic manipulation, no phase technology. Krelvaz made a dismissive gesture with his upper limbs. And yet the Sovereign Council insists we establish formal contact rather than simply claiming the system. Such a waste of resources. The Valkyrian Empire had stood for 12 millennia, expanding across 17 sectors of the galaxy. With superior technology and biological augmentation, they had incorporated 37 lesser species into their hegemony, some as client races, others as little more than servants. Earth would be no different. Prepare the diplomatic shuttle, Krelvaz ordered. Let's get this formality over with. United Earth Defense Force General Helena Chen watched the alien shuttle descend toward the designated landing zone outside Geneva. 6 months ago, humanity had detected the Valkyrian ships entering the solar system. 6 months of frantic preparation, of decisions made behind closed doors, of the most significant technological reveals in human history being carefully orchestrated. They're exactly on schedule, remarked Admiral Okafor beside her. Punctual, if nothing else. Chen nodded. And arrogant. Their communications have been instructive. The shuttle touched down with barely a whisper, its sleek design suggesting technological prowess far beyond humanity's apparent capabilities. A ramp extended, and 3 tall, insectoid figures emerge. Showtime, Chen murmured. The diplomatic encounter was brief, and from the Valkyrian perspective, entirely predictable. The humans presented themselves respectfully, offered tours of their most advanced facilities, and appeared appropriately awed by Valkyrian technology. Krelvaz found their attempts to appear sophisticated almost charming. They showed us their particle accelerators and fusion plants as if they were showing off toys. He reported to the Sovereign Council later. Their military capabilities are negligible. Primitive projectile weapons, rudimentary energy shields, and spacecraft that rely entirely on chemical propulsion. High Counselor Zextrol's image flickered slightly in the holographic projection, and your assessment of their potential for resistance. Minimal, Krelvaz replied confidently. They have no unified global government, though something called the United Nations attempts to coordinate international affairs. They appeared honored by our offer of protectorate status. What Krelvaz failed to note was how carefully curated the human presentation had been, how their questions, while seemingly naive, probed specific weaknesses in Valkyrian technology, how their scientists had focused on certain frequencies when scanning the Valkyrian ships, how their military representatives had seemed particularly interested in Valkyrian shield harmonics. They bought it completely, General Chen reported to the United Earth Defense Council. The room, buried 2 kilometers beneath the Rocky Mountains, was filled with humanity's true leadership, not the political figureheads who had met with the Valkyrians, but the military and scientific authorities who had been preparing for this moment for decades. The Prometheus Protocol is ready for implementation, Dr. Eliza Shea announced, bringing up a holographic display of Earth's orbital defense grid, the one carefully hidden from Valkyrian sensors. We've analyzed their shield frequencies and communication protocols. Their encryption was surprisingly straightforward once we understood their mathematical base. Admiral Okafor stepped forward. Our stealth fleet is in position. The Valkyrians still believe our most advanced ships are the chemical rockets we showed them. They have no idea about the Jupiter shipyards or the Ganymede defense platforms. Secretary General Williams nodded grimly. And you're certain they intend to return with a larger force? Absolutely, Chen confirmed. Their entire diplomatic approach followed their historical pattern with other species. They're coming back to protect us, whether we want it or not. Then we'll be ready, Williams said. Maintain the deception until the last possible moment. 3 months later, Krelvas returned to the Sol system with the pride of the Valkyrian fleet. 20 capital ships, each capable of reducing the city to ash. Their arrival was announced with all the ceremony befitting the superior civilization graciously extending protection to a primitive one. Attention, representatives of Earth, Krelvas broadcast. The Sovereign Council has approved your world's admission to the Valkyrian hegemony. As a protectorate state, we come to establish a permanent embassy and defensive presence. Prepare your designated landing zones for our arrival. The response from Earth came after a calculated delay, just long enough to suggest human communications were slower than they actually were. Grand Admiral Krelvas came the voice of the human representative they had met before, a politician named Garcia. We are honored by your return. However, we must respectfully decline your offer of protectorate status. Earth wishes to maintain its independence. Krelvas chittered in amusement to his bridge crew. This was also expected, a token resistance before reality set in. Representative Garcia, perhaps I failed to make myself clear. This is not an offer, but a notification. The Valkyrian fleet will establish orbital supremacy, and you will accept our protection. Resistance would be unfortunate. I understand, Admiral, Garcia replied, his voice steady. In that case, I am instructed to transfer you to our military authority. The communication shifted, and General Chen's face appeared on the screen. Her expression was not fearful, but calm and almost pitying. Admiral Krelvas, this is General Helena Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. You are hereby notified that the Sol system is sovereign human territory. Your ships will power down weapons, withdraw to the heliosphere, and await escort out of our system. You have 5 minutes to comply. Laughter rippled across the Valkyrian command deck. You misunderstand your situation, General, Krelvas responded, mandibles clicking in amusement. We have scanned your world. You have no orbital defenses capable of challenging a single Valkyrian frigate, let alone our fleet. Chen simply smiled. You scanned what we allowed you to see. Admiral, your 5 minutes begin now. Krelvas was about to respond when his tactical officer suddenly chittered in alarm. Admiral, energy signatures, everywhere. They're powering up. The holographic display around Krelvas transformed as hundreds of previously invisible platforms revealed themselves in Earth orbit. Simultaneously, massive ships emerged from behind Earth's moon, from the shadow of Mars, from seemingly empty space, their stealth systems deactivating to reveal vessels that rivaled the indomitable might in size. Impossible, Krelvas hissed. Their technology was exactly what we wanted you to see, Chen interrupted. 4 minutes remaining, Admiral. As the Valkyrian fleet scrambled to battle positions, their sensors detected another anomaly. Their own systems were behaving erratically. Communications became garbled, weapon targeting systems fluctuated, and shield harmonics began to destabilize. They've hacked our network, the communications officer shouted. They're using our own command protocols against us. For the first time in his illustrious career, Grand Admiral Krelvas felt something unfamiliar. Fear. 3 minutes, Admiral, Chen reminded him calmly. Oh, and you should know, we've taken the liberty of transmitting this entire encounter back to your Sovereign Council in real time. I believe they'll find it educational. Krelvas stared at the human general, mandibles twitching in fury and disbelief. In just 3 short months, everything he thought he knew about this species had been proven catastrophically wrong. Stand down weapons, he finally ordered, his voice tight with restrained rage. Prepare for withdrawal. Chen nodded approvingly. A wise decision, Admiral. Our escorts will ensure your safe passage to the system boundary. And Admiral, next time, Perhaps consider asking for an alliance rather than assuming dominance. You might find we make better friends than subjects." As the Valkyrian fleet began their humiliating retreat, Krelvas could only wonder how badly they had underestimated these humans, and what other surprises this seemingly unassuming species might have in store for the galaxy. The Reckoning. The great hall of the Sovereign Council echoed with angry chittering as Krelvas stood at the center of the circular chamber, his posture rigid with humiliation. Holographic displays showed the encounter with the humans from multiple angles, the sudden appearance of Earth's hidden fleet, the effortless penetration of Valkyrian encryption, and the ignominious retreat of what had been the pride of the Empire. "Explain yourself, Admiral," High Counselor Zextral demanded. Her exoskeleton flushed with the deep purple of extreme displeasure. "How did the Intelligence Division fail so completely? How did you fail so completely?" Krelvas struggled to maintain his composure. "The humans practiced deliberate deception, Counselor. They showed us obsolete technology while concealing their true capabilities. They outmaneuvered the Valkyrian Empire," interrupted Counselor Drex, his voice rising above the general din. "For the first time in 8 centuries, our fleet was forced to retreat without firing a shot. The dishonor is unimaginable." The chamber grew momentarily silent as a new figure entered, Fleet Admiral Xenkar, Supreme Commander of all Valkyrian military forces. Unlike the others, his exoskeleton showed no emotional coloration, remaining the neutral gray of careful calculation. "The humans have sent a delegation," Xenkar announced. "They request a formal diplomatic meeting, not as supplicants, but as equals." Fresh outrage erupted across the chamber until Zextral raised all 4 of her upper limbs for silence. "What are their terms?" she asked. "They propose a non-aggression pact and open trade relations," Xenkar replied. "They have also transmitted technical specifications for a joint scientific endeavor as a show of good faith." "A trap," hissed Counselor Drex. "They humiliate us, then expect cooperation." Krelvas, seeing a chance for redemption, stepped forward. Perhaps we should consider their offer while preparing a more suitable response, if we can gain intelligence on their true technological capabilities." "Yes," Zextral's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "We will receive their delegation. Meanwhile, Admiral, you will prepare a comprehensive assessment of human military capability based on what we now know. Fleet Admiral Xenkar will begin planning appropriate countermeasures." Krelvas bowed in acknowledgement, relief flooding through him. He had been granted a chance to redeem his failure, a chance he intended to seize fully. On Earth, the United Earth Defense Council was in a considerably more celebratory mood, though tempered with caution. "The Valkyrians have accepted our diplomatic overture," Secretary General Williams announced. "They'll receive our delegation next month." General Chen nodded. "And our intelligence suggests they're also planning a military response. Their cultural history doesn't allow for accepting such a loss of face." Dr. Shib brought up a holographic display of the technical specifications they had sent to the Valkyrians. "These plans for the Joint Gravitational Wave Detector should keep them intrigued. We've included enough real breakthroughs to be convincing, while carefully avoiding anything that would help their weapons technology." Admiral Okafor looked skeptical. "They'll be analyzing everything for military applications." "Of course they will," Chen agreed. "That's why we designed it as we did. While they're trying to weaponize gravitational wave detection, our actual advances in quantum shield harmonics and hyperspatial navigation will remain secure." Williams turned to the newly appointed ambassador to the Valkyrian Empire, Dr. Sofia Rodriguez, a brilliant sinoanthropologist who had studied the limited data available on Valkyrian society. "Ambassador, you understand your mission is twofold. Establish peaceful relations if possible, but also gather as much intelligence as you can on their true capabilities and intentions." Rodriguez nodded. "Their social structure rewards strength and punishes perceived weakness. Our show of force earned their attention, but they'll be looking for vulnerabilities. I'll need to project confidence without triggering their confrontational instincts. A difficult balance, Williams acknowledged. But remember, behind your words stands the full technological might of humanity. Speak softly, but make sure they remember the big stick. The diplomatic mission proceeded as expected. Formal exchanges, carefully worded agreements, and mutual assessments disguised as cultural sharing. What the humans couldn't know was that Fleet Admiral Xenkar had been developing a radical new approach to counter Earth's surprising technological edge. 6 months after the initial confrontation, as the diplomatic processes inched forward, Xenkar presented his plan to the Sovereign Council. The humans have exceptional technology, but they lack experience in interstellar warfare, he explained, displaying tactical projections. Our new fleet configuration incorporates adaptive shield frequencies that will resist their hacking attempts. Moreover, we have developed specialized EMP weapons that should disable their advanced electronics. And if these measures fail, Zextrol asked pointedly. They will not, Xenkar stated with absolute confidence. The battle fleet is already assembled in the Proxima system, just one jump from Earth. When the Council gives the order, we can strike within hours. Zextrol considered briefly, then nodded. Proceed, Admiral. The Valkyrian Empire will not be made to look weak. On Earth, the alert came at 300 hours GMT. General Chen was pulled from sleep by an urgent communication. General, our deep space monitoring network has detected a massive quantum disturbance in the Proxima Centauri system, reported the watch officer. Energy signatures match Valkyrian jump preparations, a lot of them. Chen was fully awake instantly. Alert Condition Alpha. Activate the Aegis Protocol. Within minutes, the Earth Defense Council had convened virtually. The situation was clear. The Valkyrians were preparing for war. Our intelligence was correct, Chen stated grimly. They couldn't accept the loss of face. They're coming in force, at least 3 times the fleet size of their previous visit. Are we ready? Williams asked. Admiral Okafor nodded. Operation Checkmate is prepared. The question is, do we wait for them to arrive, or do we surprise them again? A slow smile spread across Chen's face. I think it's time for another lesson in humility. Fleet Admiral Xenkar stood proudly on the command deck of the Supreme Dominance, the newest and most powerful dreadnought in the Valkyrian fleet. Around him, 80 warships prepared for the quantum jump that would take them to the Sol system. Final systems check complete, his executive officer reported. All ships report ready. Excellent, Xenkar replied. Commence jump sequence. As the massive fleet prepared to transit through quantum space, Xenkar allowed himself a moment of anticipation. The humans had surprised them once, but the Empire had learned its lesson. This time, there would be no humiliation, only victory. Admiral, his communications officer suddenly interrupted. We're detecting an unusual quantum signature. It's... Before he could finish, space itself seemed to tear open directly in front of the Valkyrian fleet. Not the controlled quantum apertures of their jump drives, but massive rifts in space-time. And through these rifts came the impossible, human ships, emerging directly into the heart of the Valkyrian formation. Impossible. Xenkar hissed. They can't have quantum jump technology. Sir, they don't, his science officer replied, mandibles quivering. These aren't jump points. They're wormholes. Artificial wormholes. Before the Valkyrian fleet could reorganize, the human vessels opened fire, not with the expected energy weapons, but with precisely calibrated gravitational pulses that disrupted the Valkyrians' quantum drive systems. Ships that tried to escape found their jump drives inoperable, their conventional propulsion systems responding sluggishly. Xenkar watched in mounting horror as the ambitious attack plan disintegrated around him. The humans hadn't just matched Valkyrian technology. They had leapfrogged it entirely, developing capabilities the Empire had theorized but never achieved. His tactical display flashed with a priority communication. From a human vessel. Admiral Xenkar, came General Chen's voice, as calm and composed as before. You seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. This is an act of war, Xenkar snarled. No, Admiral. This is a preventive measure against your act of war. We detected your fleet preparations days ago. Our shields are still operational, Xenkar countered. Your gravitational weapons cannot penetrate them directly. True, Chen acknowledged. But we don't need to. While we're talking, specialized data packets are being transmitted to every ship in your fleet. Check your life support systems, Admiral. With growing dread, Xenkar watched as reports flooded in. Atmospheric regulators malfunctioning, temperature controls fluctuating, and in some cases, artificial gravity failing entirely. You see, Admiral, we could destroy your fleet, Chen continued, but we prefer not to. Instead, we're offering you a choice. Stand down, return to Valkyrian space, and accept our invitation to genuine diplomatic negotiations, or continue this confrontation and discover what other surprises we've prepared. For nearly a full minute, Xenkar stood frozen, his mind racing through scenarios, seeking some path to victory. Finding none, he finally spoke. We will withdraw, he said, each word like acid on his mandibles. A wise decision, Chen replied. Our ships will escort you to the jump point. Oh, and Admiral, please extend our greetings to the Sovereign Council. Tell them humanity looks forward to establishing relations based on mutual respect and cooperation, not dominance. 1 year later, Ambassador Rodriguez stood in the Great Hall of the Sovereign Council, witnessing something unprecedented. The signing of the Sol Valkyrian Concordat, establishing official recognition of human sovereignty and the beginnings of a genuine interspecies alliance. What the Valkyrians still didn't fully comprehend was that humanity's technological leap hadn't been the result of natural development. Decades earlier, Earth had detected signals from another advanced civilization, one that had nearly been destroyed by the Valkyrian Empire's expansion. That civilization, calling themselves the Archivist Collective, had provided humanity with crucial technological insights, specifically to create a counterbalance to Valkyrian hegemony. As High Counselor Zextrol affixed her seal to the document, Rodriguez caught the eye of General Chen, who stood at the back of the human delegation. They shared a knowing look. This was just the beginning. Beyond the Valkyrians lay other empires, other challenges. But humanity was ready, stepping onto the galactic stage, not as newcomers to be subjugated, but as equals to be reckoned with. And somewhere, beyond the reach of Valkyrian censors, representatives of the Archivist Collective watched with approval. The balance of power was shifting. The age of Valkyrian dominance was ending, and a new era, one of cooperation rather than conquest, was just beginning.